Hey farmers, Michael here from Growing Farmers and the Farm on Central. And what I wanted to show you today is our trial gardens behind us. So right now we're kind of in the startup phase of our farm, and we're doing a lot of trials in our field to check out how things are growing and figure out the system we want on our new property, really in our soils. And so behind me here, we are trying a bunch of winter crops and actually some late summer crops. So we've got some cucumbers and some beans out there, which we'll probably get a harvest off of before the winter comes. But we're starting to play around with things like spinach and fall and winter carrots. We just reseeded some of those, radishes, Hackereye turnips and stuff like that. I actually just got a call today from someone who's looking for some of those crops for this fall and winter. So we're actually gonna bump up a couple of those beds to be able to supply that. Again, they called out of the blue saying, hey, looking for that, having a hard time finding that. So we wanted to source from us. So yeah, super excited about that. So we'll be bumping up some of these plantings to fulfill those orders. But as you can see, we've got our grid system going, and we've got, some different crops being grown. Now, what I want to talk about today was in a little more detail was about how to schedule your late fall crops. And in the field, most of the US, you can go into November, even sometimes December, relatively easy. Here in Ohio, we're zone 6. We will easily go into even January with spinach in the field because it's just grows really well, and it will take the cold and the dampness. So what we do is we're gonna go ahead and we link below the Johnny's planting guide. So Johnny's got a guide that kind of helps you walk through when you put in your last 10-hour day, and the 10-hour day is important because that's the last. Plants need at least 10 hours to grow. And so if you've got that last day in there, then you can kind of do calculations backwards to see when you can actually plant those dates. Now, what we do with those dates is we'll use those dates, and we've kind of like over the years figured out what those dates do for us, but we'll always triple seed. So we'll see like 4 or 5 days before that date, on that date, and 4 or 5 days after that date. Sometimes it's just 2 days on either side too. So we're trying to get a triplicate planting in there. And the reason is that's gonna help us identify some of the best dates to seed some of that. So yes, it's a little bit more seeding, but it helps us quickly identify when those right dates are for us in the fall. Because if you're in a microclimate, 3 miles, 4 miles away, it could be a week later or a week earlier. And so you wanna make sure that you get that date right so you can get your crops in there. And the thing too is sometimes at the end of the year too, we'll also like double up. So we'll actually grow 200-foot beds of lettuce instead of just 100-foot bed of lettuce. The reason for that is at that time of year, plants are growing slower. And so as the days get shorter, it's almost like you're putting them in a fridge outside. So that's another tip for you that's gonna really help you get those. So again, kind of the recap here. 1, go look at the Johnny's planting guide. We'll link to it below. And then 2, do a triplicate. So again, a couple days before, on the date, couple days after. 3, just double plant. Sometimes it's worth, in the fall, there's not a lot of weeds. We got a few weeds behind me, but not a lot. It's easy in the fall to get rid of most of those weeds. And so ground's usually open because your summer crops are coming out. So just fill those beds with, your carrots, radishes, turnips, spinach, lettuces, kales, that sort of thing. And it's guaranteed to have a really good, productive fall. So there you go.